So answer me this question, how did you wake up this morning? Did you wake up feeling energetic and positive? Or did you actually struggle to get out of bed this morning? If you did, then you need to try and change your morning routine. You need to cut out some bad habits in the morning to make sure that you start the day positively. That's what I'm going to be sharing in today's video. I'm going to be sharing with you 7 things that you shouldn't be doing in the morning. And before we jump in, there's plenty of videos like this, and what a lot of them don't tell you is not to expect too much from yourself. We see these amazing morning routines on YouTube videos, and I've done one myself before. But don't expect yourself to go from someone that struggles to get out of bed in the mornings to having an amazing morning routine tomorrow. These 7 things that I'm gonna share with you, instead of trying to do them all in one go, maybe try and change 1 habit or 2 habits. See how that goes for a period of time, then you can start to introduce a 3rd or a 4th. Don't expect too much of yourself, because we're all human, and let's face it, most of us, we struggle to get out of bed in the mornings. So the first thing that you should never do in the mornings, and we all do it, is snooze your alarm. You might be able to relate to this. Have you ever been in a public place like a train and someone else's phone has gone off and they've got your alarm tone as their ringtone and you panic? It brings back horrible memories of having to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Snoozing your alarm almost becomes natural to a lot of us, to just snooze, try and get an extra 5-10 minutes sleep. But what we're actually doing is that 5 to 10 minutes extra sleep is actually having a negative impact on how much energy we have. We all go through sleep cycles when we're sleeping, and when we wake up, when our alarm wakes us up, it kicks us out of that sleep cycle. So then when we fall back after we've snoozed our alarm, we're actually entering a new sleep cycle. So having to then kick ourselves out of it again, sort of 10 minutes later, can actually lead to us having less energy. So snoozing your alarm, science has proved it, it's not actually good for you. But how do we actually get out of the habit of doing it? There's 3 tips that I would recommend to stop snoozing your alarm. The first way is the 5-second rule. I've done a video on this before. It's essentially by Mel Robbins, and she says count down from 5. By the time you get to 0, you need to take action. This action is actually moving, putting your feet on the floor and getting out of bed. So when your alarm goes off, turn your alarm off, especially if you've got kids, you don't want to wake the kids up, and count down from 5 in your head. By the time you get to 0, you need to be out of your bed. The 5-second rule will help us take action. The second tip is to move your phone out of the bedroom. When your phone is right next to you and it's easy to snooze that alarm, it becomes a habit for us to have the ability to literally just put our arms out, know that our phone is there and snooze. But when the phone is at the other side of the room and we have to get up, we have to physically move to be able to turn the alarm off. Once we're up, it's a lot easier to stay up. And then the 3rd tip is to use an app like Sleep Cycles, or there's also other apps out there that only allow you to disable the alarm once you've done an action. So there's an app that I'm showing you on the screen right now. A feature in this app means that you'll only be able to disable your alarm by taking a photo of something. And what I've done in the past is made that photo the kettle in the kitchen. So I've had to go downstairs, take a photo of the kettle to make sure that the alarm disables. And by the time I'm there, I'm downstairs, I'm more awake, and I've got more willpower to stay up. The second thing that you shouldn't be doing in the mornings is checking emails or even checking social media. Again, easier said than done. We all do it because we're so conditioned now to reach for our phones and check our emails or to check our social media. But what this actually does is it can cause reactions. If we've got a message from someone on social media, we always seem to want to react to it. Or even if we don't reply to it, we now have it in the back of our minds. If we have an email that we've seen that requires our attention, that requires us to react to it, we're then spending our mornings putting out fires. We're spending our mornings reacting. Let's be honest, is there any email, post on social media, or a message on social media that's so important that you can't wait 45 minutes to an hour to read it? If there is a really important message, they'll find a way of contacting you. They'll probably, believe it or not, you can still pick up the phone and ring someone. So when you wake up, don't get into the habit of checking emails or checking social media within the first 45 minutes, because you're simply going to react. Your mind will start wandering off to things that you have to do, and your day already seems a drag. The 3rd mistake that you're making in the mornings is you're using it as time to relax. Bear with me on this one. Your morning really actually shouldn't be a time to relax, because it's the first thing that you're going to do in that day. What happens when you get up and you're sluggish and you relax? What does your body, what does your mind want to do for the rest of the day? It wants to relax. It wants a casual day. If you get up and you force your mind to do something productive within the first 45 minutes, what you're typically going to find is the rest of the day will go that way too. Don't use the morning time to relax. That's what evenings are typically for. Set intentions before you go to bed and say, in the morning I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Don't just play your mornings by ear. Have a good routine, and honestly, a morning routine is something that I would highly recommend that you all have. And there's a really good book called The Miracle Morning, and essentially it outlines a good morning routine and how a good morning routine, doing things like visualization or affirmations or reading or exercise or journaling in the mornings, can actually really help the rest of your day. It can really help the success that you attain. It can really help the way that you feel throughout the day. So instead of using the morning time to relax, instead let that morning time dictate the rest of your day. Mistake number 4 is don't stay in the dark. I know it's difficult. Don't snooze your alarm. Don't stay in the dark. Don't relax. This sounds like a terrible video, but again, your body and your mind reacts differently in the dark. We all have a circadian rhythm, and it's why we all probably wake up a lot earlier in the summertime, because of the light. Our body naturally knows, our mind naturally knows that in the light we stay awake and in the dark we go to sleep. So when we're staying in the dark in the mornings, again, our mind, our body just wants to go back to sleep. So when you wake up, try and get some light exposure very, very quickly. It's hard to do, especially if you're waking up very early, and it's also very hard to do in the winter time. But don't stay in the dark. Try and get in the light as quickly as you can, because again, your body, your mind will react to that light. And when we're in the dark, again, our body, our mind's going to react to that too. Number 5, don't leave your bed unmade. If my wife's going to watch this, then she's going to say, Paul, you don't make your bed. The reason why I don't make it is because she makes it first. But in all honesty, if we can make our beds in the mornings, again, it sounds so minor, but again, it can set us up for a more productive, organized day. Getting up and leaving our bed unmade can actually have an effect on the rest of our day. And there's been a lot of studies that have shown this. A lot of successful people have also said that making their bed in the morning is the best thing that they do. So don't leave your bed unmade. It literally takes less than a minute to do, and it can have such a big impact on the rest of your day. Number 6 is stop watching the news and also scrolling through social media in the mornings. The news is negative. You're never going to see good news when you watch it. Stop reading the newspapers, because again, it's very negative. When we're scrolling through social media, what are we seeing? What are we consuming? What is our mind being conditioned with? If we're waking up first thing in the morning and all we're seeing is negativity, our mind is going to react to that negativity. So instead of watching the news and conditioning our mind with negativity in the mornings, let's instead condition it with positivity. There's some amazing videos on YouTube. There's some audios that we can listen to. You've got podcasts. You've got unlimited information and unlimited resources that can actually lead to a more positive morning. But you need to make that decision to stop listening to negativity. You need to make that decision to stop conditioning your mind with negativity, especially in the mornings, because our minds are only going to be conditioned to what we see. Because a negative mind is being fed negativity and a positive mind is being fed positivity. You can quote that. Just quote that and put Paul McGregor underneath it. So honestly, stop watching the news, stop feeding your mind with negativity in the mornings, and replace it with something positive. And then number 7, the biggest mistake that all of us make is we drink coffee in the mornings. I know. A lot of us can't function without coffee in the mornings, but our body and our mind doesn't react well to coffee, especially first thing. Now, I'm not going to be one to preach, because I do love a coffee, especially first thing in the mornings. But sometimes that hit of caffeine straight away can have a negative effect. It can lead us to feeling more fatigued a couple of hours later. There's been a lot of studies that show that trying to have a coffee after 9:30 can actually prolong the amount of energy that you have throughout the day. First thing in the mornings, we actually do have quite a lot of natural energy, and actually having caffeine and having coffee can affect it. So trying to push that first cup of coffee back to at least 9:30 is probably going to be your best bet. Secondly, maybe instead of having coffee first thing, have a pint of water, or try and get as much water into your body as you possibly can. You've just been sleeping for 6, 7, 8 hours. Your body, your mind is feeling very dehydrated, and drinking coffee can actually sometimes add to that dehydration. So instead of reaching straight for the coffee, reach for a pint of water. Drink as much water as you possibly can. Push that first cup of coffee back as much as you can as well. Rely on your natural energy, and you're going to start to see big changes as well. Aim, can you put the kettle on, please? It's coffee time. So there we have it, 7 things that you shouldn't be doing in the mornings. Like I said at the beginning of the video, don't feel like you have to stop all 7 of these right now. Just work on them one by one. Don't have such big expectations of your morning, but making small changes every single day, small wins every single day can lead to big results. Please let me know what you think of this video in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this over on YouTube. And once again, a huge thank you to you for listening. I'll see you all in a video very, very soon.